So we see many organizations are working in the social work sector, but and people have been improving definitely, but we wanted some kind of an idea that can actually help people, get out of the cycle of poverty. So we decided to focus on education. And when we started working on education, we realized that there are many other things that needs to be taken care of, like, for example, our kids have to go to work because they have to earn money. So because of all these things, we decided to have like a holistic approach. And that is why we started Akshar Foundation. So we see many organizations are working in the social work sector, but and people have been improving definitely, but we wanted some kind of an idea that can actually help people, get out of the cycle of poverty. So we decided to focus on education. And when we started working on education, we realized that there are many other things that needs to be taken care of, like, for example, our kids have to go to work because they have to earn money. So because of all these things, we decided to have like a holistic approach. And that is why we started Akshar Foundation.
Okay. So ma'am, when I was going through the website and everything, there was the saying like Akshar Foundation was was working with the belief to end child labor with child labor. So how you came through the idea? How you came through that idea?
So when we started the school, we found out that our students had to skip school to go out to work, because from the age of like 12 year onwards, your parents start expecting you to be able to pay or contribute towards the house expenses. So when we were trying to figure out how to go about that, we thought that maybe we could hire the older students to teach the younger ones. And that way we can pay the older kids some money so that they can stay at school. And the younger kids receive individual attention. So like you see in middle class families, parents take an active interest in their kids' education. They do homework with them. They send them for tuitions. Now, poor families, they don't have that opportunity. So that is one of the reasons for them not being able to come out of the cycle of poverty, because your parents' involvement in your life makes a big difference. And that encouragement that you get at home definitely helps young middle class or elite children succeed. But how can we provide that to the poor children? So if we employ the older kids to teach the younger ones, we can provide a quality education to the younger child, where the older kid is giving encouragement, going through the worksheet alone, telling them it's good job. And the older kid, they learn a lot of skills, like they get confidence. And at the same time, they also get the money to stay in school, which is a very important factor, because otherwise they have to go to work. So that is why we decided to, that's why we call it that, and we use child labor to end child labor, so that we can, give this child laborers an opportunity at our school so that they can stay in school and they can learn. And because of that, we also started doing vocational training, where the kids who need to earn more money, they can stay at school after school hours, learn vocational training, and at the same time get some money for that.
Okay, so talking about the money, how you manage the money and how you decide that which child should get how much money, because sometimes excessive money also, it's not good for children. So how
there is no excessive money happening, first of all. So when a new student comes into our school, we test the kid, and based on his or her knowledge, we place them in the level accordingly. So it means that if you have a 12-year-old kid coming to our school, the kid might be in class 3 in English, but class 5 in math. So we do not group the kids by their age, we group them by the skills. So if a kid is supposed in level 5 English, and the kid gets a particular amount of money for that level, and the kid moves from level 5 to level 6, the pay increases. So the money corresponds to what they know and how good they are as teachers. So we also judge the kids on how effective they are as teachers. So every Friday, the students do an evaluation where they themselves decide how effective they were as teachers. And then our senior teachers who are, observing the students while they're teaching, they give their feedback. So suppose on the form it says, I was a good teacher, I did not shout at my student today. But then the senior teacher saw the kid shout, then she or he will be like, hey, but you shouted at your kid, I saw that, so you don't get the money for that. So that way the kids also learn that, their behavior matters. And at the same time, they realize that they can learn more to earn more. So when you go from one class to the next, the pay increases, which means they are instilling this basic idea from a young age that, if we learn more and more, we will get paid more. So, so it's been working out really great at our school, because kids are incentivized to work and study because of the more pay grade, of course. That is also a factor. But at the same time, they're motivated, and that makes a big difference.
Okay. So, ma'am, you are saying that children in Akshar Foundation comes from the lower section of the society. So when they come, generally they are dropouts and they are not encouraged because they have to go to work. So when they come to Akshar Foundation, how you do the counseling?
Well, at first, so our everything is ongoing. We don't have like a teacher's training or a student's training. Everything is on the ground. So we do counseling for students based on what is their requirement. So some kids come from a difficult background, so our approach to them is different. Some kids are more well balanced, and then we treat them differently. So we have a very individualized approach where we take every kid into account, his or her ideas, and the mental state and their skills, and then we deal with them accordingly.
Okay, so ma'am, what is the reaction of the parents when they send the children to Akshar Foundation? How was the reaction of the parents?
Well, in the beginning, they weren't very happy because we're like a different kind of school, so they were not open to that. They were like, "Why don't you beat my kids? We have discipline issues at home. Why are you not forcing kids to do homework?" But we don't go with that approach. We give the kids the freedom to want to learn, and that way we make sure that they actually have the desire to learn versus just like pressuring them to do things. So about like after a year into the school, the kids that we did manage to retain in our first year, the parents saw their improvement, and after that we have had like no problem with the parents.
Okay, so ma'am, as you said, when the child comes in, you evaluate them on the basis of their skills. So so how you design the curriculum and how it gets running with children, teachers, how you design the curriculum
So
for the
we have
students?
levels, say from level 1 to level 10, we have worksheets corresponding to that level. And we test the students based on where they are in the worksheet level. So suppose they're able to do level 3 worksheets. Then we test them for level 4. If they're struggling with level 4, we put them in level 4. So the same goes for math, what they can do comfortably versus what they are struggling with. And then they go in the level that they're struggling with. Also, to become a teacher, you have to know the concepts well. So we make sure that when a kid is promoted, the kid has at least secured like above 95% in 5 consecutive exams. Then we know for sure that kids have learned the content. The problem with the regular schools is that even if you get say 33% or 36%, you pass and you move to the next class, but then you struggle
Yeah.
because if your concepts are not clear, you struggle later in life. So we make sure that the kids are clear with their ideas and concepts, so that they are motivated to study. The thing is, if you give the kids the freedom to learn at their own pace, they are motivated. When you're forcing a kid who doesn't know addition to do fraction, and the kid is of course going to lose interest. So that's why we are focusing on the skills-based learning.
Okay. So ma'am, I was going through your website. I saw the word meta teaching. So what is meta teaching? Please
Meta
enlighten us
teaching is
about.
teaching how to teach. So we
Okay.
teach older students how to teach younger ones, and that they learn by doing. Even when we hire our junior teachers or senior teachers at girls at school, we don't have like a teacher training program where you sit down and you go through a list of things. They learn by doing in the field. So that way they internalize the whole process.
Okay. Ma'am, when you started and till now, what are the challenges you faced, like for running Aksha Foundation, or when you founded, what are the challenges you faced?
Well, the main funding always comes down to, main issue comes down to funding, because funding is always a problem. And because we are like a different kind of school, we don't fit into the conventional funding allotments that organizations have, because we do also vocational training. We also group the kids by their skills, not by their age. So these are different ideas that people have a hard time wrapping their minds around. And because of that, we struggle with funding. That is one of the main challenges. The second one is we are still not able to pay enough to the children, and which is again the problem that comes from funding, because funding organizations are not okay with paying paying children. But the issue is that child labor is rampant in our country. That's the reality. We cannot ignore that. And everyone is thinking about child labor in terms of, oh, that is wrong. But okay, so you think that is wrong, but does that mean that kids are not going to work? No, that's not the case. The reality is that they have to go to work. So we need to find a solution that can stop that, instead of just saying, oh, just stop child labor, and they have to wait till they're 18.
Okay. So, ma'am, uh, as the children are growing, so they receiving education, and now they will want to move to a higher education. So, how you are planning to counsel them or to design a way how they should move to the higher education part?
So the students will be with us till class 10, and by the class 10, they would actually have more experiences than maybe many middle class students also. So they would be well adapted to any situation that they go to. They're already working, they're already dealing with new people. We are going to set up a business at school. So they will have all the practical experience that you require to go into the world. and we will also provide support to them when they are pursuing higher education also. So if the students are with us till class 12, then from 11 and 12, we want them to focus on community oriented projects. Like suppose you have a problem of drinking water. So let the students come up with a solution as to how you can, tackle that. Maybe provide cheap filters to the people in the area. So we are hopeful that our kids will be really, ready to be adaptable to any situation that they come in, which also means that we are preparing them also for the technological advancements that will take place in the future and which will displace a lot of jobs. So you can't train people anymore to be drivers or, for any particular thing, because you don't know when it might be automated. So what we are trying to teach our students is give them like a holistic environment, let them learn everything, figure out their own skills, and then be adaptable and creative, so that they're ready to make their own way.
Okay. So, ma'am, in the curriculum system that we are still in, there is a requirement of mark certain cut of percentages. So, how you are planning to, go through that process, or how the exams or how the evaluation that is happening in Aksha Foundation will be able to cope up with the education system that we still have in our country?
I mean, it fits in like comfortably into the regular education system because we have tests every Friday. So we evaluate the kids every Friday, and they can comfortably fit into the mainstream education system. Like we are working in a school in Delhi, and there we are doing CBSE sheets with the students because that is the board requirement, So there is no problem for them to fit into the regular system.
Okay. So, ma'am, how you have managed in this pandemic to keep on with the education system?
Well, this
Because
has been really difficult because our students don't have cell phones, they don't have internet access. And this, digital learning is mostly for middle class or elites because it's so difficult in general when the school is fully operational to keep the kids in school and to attend to their different needs. So when you just take the school away from them, even if we can provide cell phones, they have so many issues at home that they are engulfed in these times when their parents are at home, the parents are jobless, which means the violence is more, the abuse is more. So it's just like a really complicated situation. We are giving food rations to our students for now. And we are also doing food distribution in the neighboring areas around our school and in different parts of Guwahati. But, in terms of education, we are doing whatever we can with online classes, but that's so not enough. Like it's definitely not enough. And if this goes on for a long time, like I honestly don't know what the problem that plan is going to be, because there's a lot of child marriage happening now because parents don't want their kids to be a burden on them. They have no money to feed them. So, they are sending them off. Their child labor is going to increase by like 1,000 folds because people need to earn money. So, no, it's pretty bad. They're struggling with the whole thing now.
okay, so ma'am, how has been your journey till now, and where are you looking yourself in the next coming years?
And the journey has been really great. We have seen tremendous improvement in the kids' life, which makes us believe in the model that, this model works. And if we can replicate this everywhere, then maybe we actually have a shot at, ending child labor, hopefully. We are working in government schools now because if you want to spread or if you want to reach out to millions of kids, it's not possible to do it on your own. You have to have the support of the government. So in Delhi, that was our first primary school. And now we are in talks with the Gwalior authorities for 2 schools over there. So once we get that, we will focus on working with the government and try to get into an idea of, actually solving the problem from the grassroots and get the government involved so that hopefully they take up our model and we can spread more.
Okay, so ma'am, talking about the government school, how is the curriculum is same in the government school like it is in Aksha Foundation, or it is a bit slightly different, or how you are managing there in government schools?
So the advantage that we have in the Gwalior is we are free to group the skills as we want, kids as we want according to the skills. So we'll have the liberty of grouping the kids by the skills and not by their age. So we are hopefully trying to implement a full model in a government school. The only difference will be that here our students are doing Cambridge worksheets or they're applying for NIOS exams. There they will be doing their state board exam. So that is about the basic difference. Hopefully everything else we can do exactly like we're doing here. Okay. And in Delhi, we could do it exactly like we're doing here. The principal was flexible, so she let us arrange the kids by the skills, which was very helpful.
That's a good news for you, I guess. And yes, so ma'am, talking again about the funding, how you decided whom to seek for funding and how you planned, like we should go for funding, we should approach, how you approached and how you decided that we should go for to this person for funding or something like that? How you
Honestly, there is no
handle it?
decision there. We just apply everywhere and hope to goodness that someone decides to give us funding. So, we literally try to apply everywhere, as many options as we can. And funding is like always such a big issue, because even if you have funding for like 5 schools, we can always work in 100 schools, so there is always this need for funding, even if we have like some regular funder or donor. So yeah, like we hope, like we don't know what to do about funding, because ultimately it all comes down to that, but yeah, we approach everyone.
Okay. And ma'am, how is the environment in the school when the children comes and when they finally starts to dwell into the environment? How is the environment between the children and how they enjoy in the school?
Well, in the beginning, the kids adjust very quickly in our school, because we have this hierarchical school system, where we have student teachers. So when you have like a group of 100 kids and then one new kid comes in, the kid already like learns to adjust quickly to the new environment, because everyone else is doing that. Because we have student teachers, the older students who are teaching younger ones, they also maintain the discipline in the school. So you also give the students a lot of freedom to learn what they want, how they want. You want to watch movies, great, you guys select the movies. We have worksheets designed on movies. So it's like a fun learning environment, and kids love coming to school. Like we don't have winter and summer breaks anymore, because when we did have that in the beginning, kids would protest. They were like, we want to come to school. So we keep our school like open throughout the year now.
What was your most memorable experience with the students?
Well, that's many, like the transformation of the students, like we have had so many kids who come up with so many anger issues, and who are bullying, and they just completely transform in this model. So that's why we really believe that this model will work, because we have seen kids transform from being like angry and repressed and bullying to being like nice, well-adjusted kids who care about others. So we have hope in the system that it really works.
Okay, so ma'am, since you started in Assam, what was the scenario when you started in Assam, and how you think that you can spread awareness about it? Because when I talk about Akshar Foundation, many people are still not aware about Akshar Foundation. So
I mean,
how
we
you
are
are
a very
working on that?
small organization, we just blew up because of being viral, but we are like a really small organization. So it's surprising that even so many people know about us, compared to how small we are, because we only have one school in Guwahati, we are working in one school in Delhi, and that's about it. But yeah, we
Because
are trying.
I still remember I was in my NCC camp and there was a boy and he came and he said that I go to Akshar Foundation, and there that's when I first heard about Akshar Foundation. Then I talked with the boy and he was like, हम वहाँ जाते हैं, हमको पैसे मिलते हैं, हम अच्छे से
Really?
पढ़ाते हैं. Yes, I
You
came to
met a
know.
student from our school.
Yes. He also said that they used to collect plastics and they get
Yes.
rewarded for that. So I would like to know about it.
So, well, our kids work on different issues, So when we were trying to, and we were trying to develop vocational training based on the kids' interests or the needs in the area. So when we decided to work on environment, we were trying to figure out as to what aspect can we work on that the students can relate to. So when we interacted with them, we learned that burning plastic is a regular phenomenon. People burn trash in like, educated middle, like my neighbors, they burn trash on a regular basis. And I live in a middle class area. So how do you expect poor people to not do that, right? And they have to get rid of the trash. They don't have GMC coming. So they have no option but to do that. But we thought that maybe we could, use this problem to find a solution to that. So we told the students that you have to bring in 25 items of plastic every week, and it has to be clean, because
Okay.
after school, the students, the older students, they will work in the Akshar Recycling Center and make eco bricks with the plastic. So when we first told the parents and the students, we didn't have a lot of people bringing it in, and whoever would bring in would be dirty and lots of issues. So then we told the parents that this is a free school. If you want your kids to keep studying here, then you have to send plastic waste 25 per week and consider it as your school fees. And if you don't want to do that, you have to start paying fees. So that finally motivated the parents to, to actually take the time and effort to collect the clean plastic and send it to school. And then our older kids, they work at the recycling center, which also helps them earn some money, which helps them stay in school.
So how the recycling process happens and who takes care about it?
So it's just really simple. You just put plastic wrappers into a plastic bottle, stuff it tightly, and that becomes like a brick, which can be
Okay.
used for basic construction. So we have made like a planter at our school. We have also made pathways connecting classrooms, because in the monsoon season, like our whole school, I mean, we have no concrete roads, right? So everything is just muddy. So the pathways help us like move from one classroom to the next. So we're doing like small kinds of constructions with that. The students, like, it's so simple that you learn that in like 2-3 days, you know. So the students, they mostly do it themselves only with some supervision from a junior teacher.
Okay. So it's just really I am filled with enthusiasm. Like, wow, something like this is happening in Assam. Like, it's so good to know about it, because when I first to know about Akshar Foundation, I was in my NCC camp, and then I started to dig more about it. And then when I came to know, then I started with the internship. I was like, I had to do with a session with ma'am, because I wanted to know more about
Yeah,
Akshar
okay.
Foundation. On that note, that was my last question. I hope you had a great session, ma'am.
Oh no, I really
And
did. Thank you so much for having me.
thank you so much. And we wish you all the best, all the success. And we hope that the notion that you're working with and child labor is like, we don't have child labor anymore. Like, it's just like in the history, it becomes a history. So all the
That would
best
be
to
great.
you.
Thank
All
you
the
so
best to
much.
you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thanks a lot.